Hey guys, Scott here. What happened? Why is everyone just freaking out about distortion? What what did I miss? Like it just seems like over the past 4 or 5 days, collectively half of the community is just complaining about distortion now. You know what I think happens here? I think before I go any further, what actually happens is there's always going to be something problematic in Dead by Daylight, right? There's always going to be some type of problem, and we're never going to not have that scenario. So what happens when one problem is fixed, we just start going down the list and then complaining about the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one, the next one. I think the fact that people are complaining about distortion now means DBD, in terms of balance, is in a pretty good spot. Because if that's the perk that's warranting complaints now, that's a good thing. It means we really don't have much else to talk about, and the game is, for the most part, pretty decently balanced at the moment. Couple little outliers left, but for the most part, we're in a pretty good spot. That's my little take on it. But why are people complaining about distortion? From what I've noticed, from scouring the internet, it's not really that people hate distortion or think distortion is broken. For those who don't know, distortion is a perk that blocks all aura reading. And when your aura reading is blocked by the perk's effect, you don't leave scratches for a short time. It's an extremely good perk for not getting found. There are a ton of aura perks in the game, so distortion is very, very strong. And I think the reason that people dislike distortion is not distortion, it's distortion players. Distortion players have an archetype of being the selfish teammate that just hides and just lets their entire team die and then opens the gate with like Soul Survivor or something. It's typically used by like rat players that are not helping out at all, and all they do is just try to just let everyone else on their team die, and then they get out via the hatch or something like that. So if that's the argument, if it's we hate distortion players, I will absolutely high five you on that one. I also hate distortion players. I hate going against them. I hate when they're on my team. Everything about that. Every time you see someone get unhooked and all I could see is the injured guy and some distortion little fixated urban evasion rat is like scattering away in the corner, I do hate that shit. So distortion players, yes, I agree. Very annoying to go against. Typically terrible, terrible teammates. And me just having to search desperately to not tunnel off the hook because of these types of players. Yes, I absolutely hate that. If that's the argument, yes, I agree. But the perk itself, while very strong in my opinion, I don't think it's really overpowered. I sort of have the same take on Save the Best for Last. I think it's super strong, but I don't really think it's overpowered. If I had to make a tweak to Save the Best for Last, it would be don't let it work, within 3 meters of the hook, because just using it at camp is boring as shit. And if I had to make one tweak with distortion, I would say, like, don't let it recharge tokens as quickly or something like that, because you can get your tokens back pretty quickly, and that can be pretty annoying to have essentially entire builds and add-ons completely invalidated by the killer. The problem is it sort of affects killers at very, very different rates. Like a Scratch Mirror Myers will burn through your tokens in, 30 seconds. But a killer that just has barbecue and chili and that's it pretty much just negates their perk for the entire game. And that feels kind of shitty too. So you can bring distortion in and get basically zero value out of it if they have no aura rating perks, or you can get probably too much value. And it's too hard to balance a perk that has that much variation depending on what the killer brings into the match. So that's why some people think it's too strong, because they're killers that rely on aura rating add-ons and perks. And then there's some people that don't give a shit because they just don't run those types of perks or something like that, or they don't run killers that have aura reading or anything like that, or they're running ultimate weapon or scream related perks that are not aura reading and something like that. So that's why there's such discourse about this, because depending on the build that you bring, it can be useless or way too strong. And so that's why people are freaking out about it. Overall, do I think distortion needs to change? Not really, no. I don't like it. I don't like distortion players. I don't think it warrants a change. Maybe make tokens take slightly longer to actually get, but it's really the distortion players. It's the mindset, this selfish hiding gameplay where you let everyone else die. That's what I think most people do have a problem with. And if that is the argument, then yeah, I would agree. That shit is very annoying. Anyway, it's funny just watching random things like this happen, because I think the DBD community is just bored and we just want to complain about stuff because there's nothing else to talk about at the moment. Okay, bye.